The Wrong Mans is a BBC television comedy drama series, co-produced with the American online television provider Hulu. It premiered on BBC Two on September 24, 2013 and in the United States on November 11, 2013. Considered a critical and ratings success, it was co-created and written by Gavin Stacey alumni James Corden and Mathew Baynton as an attempt to combine the situation comedy format with the intricate plotting and storytelling tropes of an action-adventure series. An equally successful two-part sequel series aired on BBC Two in the run-up to Christmas 2014, with Hulu debuting the same series in 4 parts on Christmas Eve. Plot: Berkshire County Council worker Sam Pinkett and Phil Bourne, who doesn't work for the council and just works inside the building, abruptly become entangled in a far-fetched but deadly serious web of crime, conspiracy and corruption after Sam answers a ringing phone at the site of a car crash. Cast: Mathew Baynton as Sam Pinkett, James Corden as Phil Bourne, Sarah Soleimani as Lizzie Green, Tom Basden as Noel Ward, Paul Corley as Alan, Shandeep Uppal as Sabrina, Dawn French as Linda Bourne, Nick Moran as Nick Stevens, Emilia Fox as Scarlett Stevens, David Calder as Mr. Reed, Benedict Wong as Mr. Lau, Andrew Koji as Jason Lau, Christina Chong as Mei Wu, Dougray Scott as Agent Jack Walker, Stephen Campbell Moore as Paul Smoke, Carol Roden as Marat Milankovic, Duncan Power as Petr, Alec Utgu as Yuri, Rebecca Front as Cox, Bertie Carvel as Nathan Cross, Trevor Cooper as Guard Harry, Rowena King as Wood. Production: On October 9, 2012, BBC Two controller Janice Hadlow announced The Wrong Mans as a co-production between BBC in-house comedy and Hulu. The series was commissioned by Janice Hadlow and Cheryl Taylor. A pilot based on Baynton and Corden's initial series pitch had previously been shot in 2010. Some elements were retained for what eventually became the first episode of the full series, including a pre-Homeland cameo from David Harewood. Principal filming on the series began in January 2013, at the same time as the cast was announced. Jeremy Dyson was the script editor for the series. The idea for the series initially arose out of a conversation between Corden and Baynton on the set of Gavin Stacey, 4 years earlier, regarding the apparent scarcity of TV sitcoms with the same level of intricate, meaningful plotting as then-current dramatic hits 24 and Lost. As a starting point for their own half-hour comedy show pitched to the BBC, the duo were further inspired by the Coen brothers' film Burn After Reading, with its central concept of ordinary characters obviously out of their depth in a standard action movie scenario. The humor in their new TV series, Baynton and Corden decided, would arise not so much from deliberate jokes as from the sheer realistic ineptitude of the heroes' attempts to cope with a high-stakes melodrama constantly snowballing further out of their control. Once they began actually writing the series, the two quickly realized this would mean carrying through a much more ambitious project than they had anticipated, eventually leading to a significant amount of effort spent attempting to work out a believably complex, well-paced thriller plot. Producer-director Jim Field-Smith described the result as a movie broken into 6 parts, and in filming aimed for a likewise ambitious fusion of the realistic and cinematic, insisting that the thriller elements be played entirely straight. Regarding the apparently awkward title, Corden explained that the extra and ungrammatical S was deliberately placed to let you know it's a comedy show. If it was a drama, it'd be called The Wrong Man. Despite the first series' apparently self-contained storyline, as of the midpoint of its initial airing, BBC executives had already confirmed that there is a desire to bring it back and discussions are ongoing. Immediately post-finale, both co-creators and Field-Smith confirmed their interest in returning, on Twitter and during media appearances. Baynton said in an interview shortly thereafter that they had come up with what they thought was a plausible way to continue the same duo's adventures for a second series. In February 2014, Baynton said that he and Corden had finished plotting the new series and were about to start work on the scripts. In April 2014, BBC Two officially announced that a second series had been commissioned. Filming began on the new series in August 2014, with Field-Smith returning as producer-director. The new plotline was conceived as a direct continuation of the events of the first, Using a deliberately hanging plot thread, the bomb scene planted under a car in the final shot, as the starting point in a storyline that charted the duo's equally outlandish attempts to reclaim their ordinary lives. Describing their efforts in comparison to the original, Corden and Baynton reiterated that this new series is bigger and bolder. If Series 1 was the frying pan, this is the fire. Other returning cast members include Dawn French, Rebecca Front, Sarah Soleimani and Tom Basden, all reprising their roles from the first series. BBC Two scheduled the new series as part of their 2014 Christmas programming lineup, running the episodes in 2-hour-long blocks successively on 22nd and 23rd December. The same episodes broken into 4 half-hours subsequently premiered on Hulu.com on December 24. Episode list. Series 1 Series 2 Reception. Ratings Overnight figures showed that the first episode was watched by 13.5% of the UK viewing audience at the time, or 3.08 million, making it BBC Two's most successful comedy debut since Extras 8 years previously. Consolidated audience was 4.5 million, or 16%. Series consolidated viewing average was 3.3 million viewers or 12%, while the Sunday 10 p.m. repeat averaged 494,000/2%. In the US, Hulu initially launched the series by making either the first 2 episodes available to regular subscribers with 1 episode subsequently released each week, or all 6 immediately available to Hulu Plus subscribers. CEO Mike Hopkins confirmed that each episode ranked among the 10 most watched on the online service upon weekly release. Critical response Initial UK reviews for the series were generally positive. It was ranked number 5 in Radio Times' annual Critics' Top 40 TV series for 2013, and the first episode was an iTunes UK Editor's Choice as the same year's best TV episode. On making its Hulu debut, the show received an aggregate score of 80/100 from Metacritic based on 7 major reviews, placing it in the top 10 highest-rated series of the US fall season. Praise for the darkly comic caper, as Keith Watson described it for Metro, centered around both the moody, heavily stylized visual feel of the overall production and the contrasting comic chemistry between its 2 leads. The mismatched body dynamic between the pair nerdy, neurotic everyman and chubby gung-ho sidekick was reminiscent of the Simon Pegg-Nick Frost Britcoms or a Coen Brothers flick, wrote Michael Hogan in the Daily Telegraph. Ellen Jones from The Independent said, thanks to slick direction and, one suspects, a large chunk of the BBC's autumn budget, it certainly looks as good as a Hollywood thriller. Veteran TV writer Clive James of the Daily Telegraph said The Wrong Man's is highly recognisable, as if it had been designed to fulfil all the requirements of British screen comedy. Remember Morecambe and Wise on the Riviera? This is the same thing, but better done. Having watched 1 episode, I vowed to watch another, instead of, as I usually do when a British comedy series is concerned, vowing to emigrate back to Australia. Writing for the entertainment website HitFix, American veteran reviewer Alan Sapinall noted that I expected to be tired of the joke behind The Wrong Man's within an episode or 2. Instead, I found myself engrossed enough in the story of who wanted Sam dead at any particular moment, and why, to keep watching until I made it all the way to the end and could appreciate just how well Baynton, Corden and company stuck the landing. Several reviewers nevertheless felt the show's attempt to seamlessly mesh the comedy and thriller genres wasn't entirely successful, including Rachel Cook in The New Statesman, who wrote that I didn't unregistered trademark hate it. But all the same, unregistered trademark I'm not sure that it quite works. 30 minutes seems too short a time to accommodate both the tropes of a thriller and a ton of jokes. I think they should have given themselves an hour, the better that the audience might get its ear in. Sam Wollaston in The Guardian wrote that he was not convinced by the series' tone, nor that performers necessarily make the best writers. Oh, and what's with that title? There's something wrong with it, isn't there? Grammatically? Awards and nominations Baynton and Corden, with Tom Basden, won a 2013 Royal Television Society Programme Award for Best Writer a Euro Comedy. Baynton and Corden also received a BAFTA TV Craft Award nomination in the same category, and both were also nominated for Best Male Performance in a Comedy Program in the same year's BAFTA Television Awards. Home media, DVD and Blu-ray disc editions of the first series were released in the UK on November 4, 2013. The second series was released onto DVD in the UK on January 26, 2015. A box set containing the first and second series of The Wrongmans was also released in the UK on January 26, 2015. References. External links: The Wrongmans at BBC Programmes, The Wrongmans at the Internet Movie Database, The Wrongmans at Radio Times, The Wrongmans at the British Comedy Guide, The Wrongmans at Hulu, Behind the Scenes Pictures.